Welcome to Hop on Calls, a short, tactical, and practical podcast for outbound sales professionals looking to level up their game by learning from actual cold calls that I make every week live on LinkedIn. My name is Kevin Hopp, and I'm all about helping outbound sales professionals hone their craft and build high-quality pipeline. Let's dive right in and see what we can learn in this episode.
All right, what's our next golden rule of cold calling? Next golden rule of cold calling is be interested and interesting. Okay. I hope that as you guys are listening to these, like it's all sort of adding up to you that cold calling is not something you should ever think can be replaced by a bot. Cold calling done really well can't be replaced by any sort of automation or any sort of like one size fits all, just slam and go. And like, I want 7,000 people getting this from me today. That's not what cold calling is. That's not what it should be, right? If you're using technology and process, you should be getting into a lot of live conversations in a day, which is good. But also, there are so many things that are required of a good rep to be effective at their job that this is skill. There's a lot of skill that goes into this. So this is one of them that is really hard to teach people if they don't have a dynamic personality, right? So in general, let's talk about this, right? Like you guys see this above me. I went to UC Santa Barbara. I have a degree in psychology. So I'm a people person, all right? I tend to say one of the things I've said before is the people that make the best salespeople are the ones that were kids. Like when I was a kid, I was super opinionated and kind of argumentative. And your mom and dad will say things like, you're going to be a lawyer one day with that attitude, right? And then if you really didn't love school and love studying and love books and all that, then you became a salesperson. You can freaking crush it, right? I do pretty well, all right? I know a lot of people who make a lot of money in sales, right? And they're not lawyers. My whole point being is you have to be a dynamic, interesting person if you're going to have these really quality outbound conversations. So be interested and be interesting is about the idea that when I call you, if I'm giving you a cold call, I am genuinely interested in what you have going on in your business. And I'm interested in learning about what's going on. I'm not just calling to book a freaking demo. I'm not just calling to close a deal. I'm calling because I'm interested in what's going on in your business. And I'm going to catch your attention and you're actually going to lean into this because I'm an interesting person, right? Be interested and be interesting on the phone. That means using your pace, volume, tone, and energy to be very, very dynamic. You got to be different. You got to sound different. And if you're not sounding different, you sound like just everybody else, and you're wondering why your cold calling results aren't there, it's because you're not interesting. No one wants to build trust with a stranger they don't know that isn't interesting. Okay? Interested and interesting. All right. Moving on. I do believe, that's going to be one of our last tips when it comes to the golden rules of cold calling. If you guys want to hear me go on and on about the golden rules of cold calling and learn more practical tips and tricks on how to do this, I do have an online course. You can go to my website, check it out. Newsflash, it has all of the basics that I talk about on here, which is structure, process, technology. That's how you nail cold calling, all right? That's how you nail cold calling. You have to have a structure and a process about how you go about it, and then you have to use technology. It's a must. Kixie is a go-to for that. Love that. Let's talk a little bit about some logistical tips, right? Use technology. You should put more time into building your lists, right? The list building process, I've worked with 45 plus different companies in my consulting practice. 45 companies. How many companies have most people worked with that aren't in consulting? You know, you work for a handful in your career, but how many have you really been in the inner workings of the company and been like direct connecting to the founders and the CEOs and the people that make all the decisions? The list building process is the number one most overlooked thing in outbound, period, full stop, right? You should put more time into building your lists so that your lists can actually be more targeted. Outbound will always work with time. The game we're playing is time. How efficient can we be over time, right? Which is a little bit of this, right? The time, and this would be outcomes. I know it's not two words, it's just writing it there that way, right? Outcomes over time. How do you do something that does this, right? How do you get a lot of outcomes in a short period of time? All you people listening that are Lean Six Sigma black belts totally get this. All my project management people out there that are listening, you probably get this. It's called efficiency. Efficiency is where you make the most time for the outcomes. You need to be efficient in what you're doing. People tend to think that they can just grab a large list and it's a law of numbers. I just need a lot of people on a list and therefore I can have a lot of conversations. Well, you have a lot of conversations. Hey, is this Noel?
Hi.
Hi, this is Kevin with Uncommon. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. I know I'm calling you a bit out of the blue here. Did I catch you with a quick minute? I can tell you exactly why I called.
Sure. What's up?
Awesome. So, Noel, I work with people leaders like yourself that are working to build a value-driven employee experience by enabling their staff to give back to nonprofits in their community. The question I have for you, what was that?
I said, oh, cool.
Sweet. Yeah. Oh, well, I guess I should just check. Are you still over at...
Yeah, I work at...
Okay, cool. Yeah, I had you down in as someone who works in people operations. That's why I thought I'd call. So the question I have for you, Noel, would you say you're satisfied with how much of your staff participates in giving back initiatives when you guys do have those?
We actually just launched our workplace giving program in September, so it's pretty new. So far, I have been pretty impressed with the utilization. I want to do some initiatives to drive more to it, but yeah, for now, I think we're okay. We also entered into a merger agreement with another company, so we're not really adding any new systems or programs right now.
Yeah, no, that's tough. Okay, that makes sense. Did you guys? So you mentioned you just started launching some workplace giving initiatives like very recently. Mm-hmm. Are you leveraging a technology platform for that, or?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, okay. So you guys probably just did a whole process.
Yeah, we just did like a RFP and like chose the right software and launched it just in September.
Nice. Can I write down on my records what you chose? Like which platform you went with?
We used Fidelity Workplace Giving.
Okay, cool.
Fidelity Investments. They're our provider.
Yep, that makes sense. And I understand that the merger thing makes it really tough to do any changes or additions or anything like that. So, okay, awesome. Yeah. Well, Noel, thanks for having the conversation with me. I really do appreciate it. Welcome. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks so much. You too. Bye.
Dang. Okay. All right. So finally, a good conversation, everybody. That was awesome. So Noel works at this company, and I had a topic-driven conversation with her. My pitch brought up exactly a conversation about what I wanted to talk about, which is what their workplace is doing for giving back initiatives. And she told me that they just went through a giant RFP process, selected a vendor. They just went live with the vendor in October, selected in September, went live in October, and they entered into an agreement to merge with another company. Now, this is a bit of a business acumen thing, right? I understand that M&A, which is mergers and acquisitions, generally puts a giant freeze on changing of platform systems and processes, right? So when it comes to like hearing about M&A on a cold call, that's a really good signal that you're not going to find either of these, right? And what are these again? Business problems and valuable solutions. They're not looking for solutions because they've been told not to bring anything on. And the business problems are kind of put on hold because the business goes into this really deep, vetting process, and, they sit down with lawyers and they bring in consultants that sit there and line it all up and say, okay, so you have this platform, we have this platform, here's how we're going to integrate, here's how we're going to do this. Generally, if they find something in that process when they're looking at all this, they will go to the vendor. But a cold outbound meeting for someone in the middle of a merger is going to be low value for your account executive, right? It's a nurture opportunity, it's a connection, sure, but it's not a hot op. So therefore, I don't want to it's not a conversation that's going to net into business in the next year. Like I can pretty much assure you on that. So bummer, but we are moving on in the dialer here. So when it comes to list building, Matthew had another question here. For a single user to search contacts. Yeah, there are a few that are like kind of cheap, quick LinkedIn plugin type things. Lucia is one. Lead IQ is another. Seamless.ai gives you a number of free credits for a while. There's a few different ways to do the lead process, right? And no free advertisements. We're not going to go through a list of all of them, but I'll tell you guys kind of basically that how it works is there's databases. Databases exist to have a big centralized place where all these leads live. What happens to databases? Well, they might have Kevin working at Vonage, Kevin working at CourseKey, Kevin working at MindTouch, all places where I did work, but the database doesn't refresh every record all the time. There's no way. There's millions and millions of people that can't keep up. So databases are going to be fairly inaccurate. It's just we know this, right? It's just part of the game. And they'll tell you they aren't, but when you do things like put them into a dialer on a live show, you tend to find out. So there's databases. Then there are smaller databases that are sort of databases, but what they really do is they do real-time research. Hey, is this Zoe?
Yeah.
Zoe, how's it going? Kevin here with Uncommon Giving. I know I'm calling unannounced. I apologize. I think we just had a little bit of phone trouble too. Did I catch you with a second to have a conversation?
Yes, but I just left my job at Upwork, so I am no longer the person who can help on this one.
Oh, okay. Well, congrats on stepping
Thank
away
you.
there. Are you
Thank
are you riding off in the sunset, or is it retirement time?
Right.
Are we gonna do
No.
all golfing and knitting?
I'm just going to take a break for a little while, like every other HR person on the planet.
Yeah, I can imagine. Q4, right?
Yeah. But if you want to, tomorrow's my last day, I think, or no, I guess Thursday's my last day. If you want to send me an email, I can forward it to my EA to follow up on with the new person.
Okay, I could do that. Okay. Well, I totally get that. I'll send it right now. But if you could help me in just 30 seconds, when it comes to giving back, so I'm with a company called Uncommon Giving, and we have a structured platform that allows employers to enable their employees to give back in both time and money to the causes that they care about. So it's a little bit different spin on it. Do you guys have a program like that? Have you thought about programs like that?
We have looked at it, but there's no money for anything like that going into the next year for us. Like, we're cutting everything. So I unfortunately don't think there's going to be much uptick. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fair. Awesome. All right. Well, Zoe, I'll let you go. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. You too. Take care. Bye.
Cheers. Dang. She also just left her job. Like, literally, she's leaving. Friday's her last day at the company that she works at. So, and what's important there, I guess the lesson to take from this call that I just had is, even if someone's on their way out, if you have them on the phone, I know she worked there for a period of time. The database that I pulled this lead from has her working there, and she worked there for a while. She knows what's going on, right? Let's remember the golden rules. Be interested and interesting, right? I'm interested in what's going on at her company. So I just asked her, I said, tell me a little bit about what you guys do for charitable giving and giving back and all that stuff. And then she told me some really good information. She basically said that they have a giant budget freeze. They're cutting programs left and right. Doesn't sound like good times at that company if we're being real. So that was an important little learning lesson there. And we're back in the queue. Okay, so we talk about lists. There's giant databases, which get kind of old and stuffy, and they're generally only done on the company level. So then there's the real-time research databases, which is more along the lines of what Matthew was asking about. These are ones that are like LinkedIn plugins, and they'll like do a quick search in their database to see. They don't have it all sitting there ready for you, but like if you say, hey, do you have a cell phone number for Kevin Hopp? They'll charge you a credit to get one cell phone number at a time, right? Which is cool little solution for little teams and like for individual people. Huge fan of doing that. There is a third way to do data, which if you have an organization that is trying to do this, which is get the most for your time. So here's what it normally looks like, guys. Here's what it normally looks like when you don't really have strong process, right? Here's what it normally looks like. Right? Takes forever to start getting results going outbound. And that's because you spend most of your time slogging through, Jason's no longer here, Stephanie, blah, 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 right? We're going back and forth and back and forth. And that is why that happens like that. I hope that makes sense. Cool. And the last note here I do want to touch on, it's a numbers game, don't get discouraged. Now, before you say it, I'm not saying the opposite of what I said in the last slide, right? So the last slide says, work smarter, not harder. Now, what I mean by it's a numbers game, don't get discouraged is the vast majority of people in your market are not actively looking for a solution, right? Let's talk about this as one of the last concepts we deal with today. Boom, right? The buyer's pyramid, something I've talked about on here before. I don't think that's there. Yeah. So the buyer's pyramid is something that a guy named Chet Holmes came out with, did a bunch of research on this, right? And in B2B mature markets, I'm talking about mature markets where people are buying things, right? If you have a startup that's like defining a new category, this rule doesn't really apply. I mean, it kind of does, kind of doesn't, but this is mostly for like more mature markets where product moves, people buy stuff. It happens all the time. In your market, only 3% of people at the very, very tippity top are actively looking for a solution and have the problems, looking for a solution, bang, right? These are the ones that we all freaking love, right? As outbound sales pros, we love these. Who else gets these? Marketing. If you do good marketing, you're going to get that. You're also going to get some of this, right? Really good marketing can maybe get all the way down to here. Now, what are these? So there's the idea that a certain small percentage of your market is always looking for what you do, and they always have the problem. They have the problem, and they're looking for a solution. Bang, that's the best meeting. And you say to yourself, why can't every cold call be like that? That was amazing. Well, it's just not like that, right? I don't know what to say besides the world don't work that way, right? So good marketing can get to the people that have the problems but are not looking for solutions. Those are really good people to have conversations with. And people that are looking for solutions but might not have the exact problems, right? So if you go deeper on this pyramid of your market, you start to find out that most of what you're doing is trying to find the people that even qualify here. But the vast majority of people don't have the problem and therefore are not looking for the solution. They don't have a business problem or looking for a valuable solution, you shouldn't set a meeting with them. It's not going to be good for you. It's not going to be good for them, right? So it's a numbers game means you have to have a lot of conversations with people to find people that are potentially in the market, people that are in the market, people could be in the market, and people that you can convince to be in the market, people that don't understand their problem, right? That's your job as a sales pro, is to go have all these conversations, but you're going to run into these people, and don't get discouraged by that. Don't get discouraged by the fact that you're going to run into people that are like, never in a million years. That's not the way I do it. I'm different. You don't understand, blah, 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 whatever it is, right? That happens a lot. Guys, that's all we have time for here today. Next week is our special Thanksgiving. I'm going to be wearing an even more ridiculous Thanksgiving shirt. Check it out next week. It's going to be rad. Ryan Parrish from Superhuman Prospecting is going to be here. Looking forward to it. Have a great rest of your...
And that's all we got for today's episode of Hop On Calls, powered by Kixie. Be sure to tune into the live recordings every Tuesday on LinkedIn. Would love to have your comments, reactions, questions. It's a really good learning environment for anyone that is looking to do outbound sales better. If your organization is actively focusing on this, feel free to reach out to me, Kevin Hopp, on LinkedIn, or go to hopconsultinggroup.com. I'll see you next time. Cheers.